Good morning, everyone. We're back in Assetto Corsa Competizione for my first video of 2020. Now, the last video I made of this game was about the end of career mode. So what happens after that last race? Do you sign with a new team? Do you sign with a proper team? Get some proper co-drivers? What happens? So if you haven't seen that, I'll try and put a link up here. I'm not very good with this post-recording and uploading YouTube thing. So I'll see if I can post a link up there somewhere. Otherwise, I'll link it in the description if I can't do that. So go have a look at that. TLDR, it was a bit shit. So I was real disappointed. So if you want to see my honest reaction to that, because it happened as I was recording, go watch that video. But that's been up there since around the middle of October. So a few months that's been up there. Someone actually commented on that video the other day. I got a comment on a video, yes. The comment was from Jeffrey. And Jeffrey said this. Thank you for this. I appreciate someone finally giving an answer to these questions. I searched all over the internet. I was checking on forums to see if anybody had discussed what happens at the end of career mode. I couldn't find an answer. So I persisted through career mode despite how shitty it was with the stupid settings and no damage and all that sort of stuff. I persisted through the answer that at least there was one video with some information up there about the end of career mode. So you're welcome, Jeffrey. I've been looking for a good sim that I can play season or career in offline mode, with 100% length and realistic field of cars, etc., like GTR 2. ACC was getting a lot of accolades, but nobody did an offline season. This pretty much tells me I won't buy this game. Lol. Thanks. I replied to Jeffrey, and the reply was basically along the lines of, hold the phone, just because career mode is a steaming pile of dog shit, doesn't mean that the rest of the game isn't dope. So... is that a double negative? Oh no, the rest of the game is dope. And, oh, that's the back of a Lamborghini. So, yeah, just because career mode is rubbish doesn't mean that championship mode will be. So, I mean, yeah, if you want a game where you can create a driver and take them through multiple seasons, develop this driver, you want, the current F1 series by Codemasters. You want, like, NASCAR Heat 4, I believe you can do, like, a similar sort of thing, create a driver, take them through career mode, blah, blah, blah. You do not want this for career mode. You don't want my usual sim, Automobilista. You don't want R Factor 2. You don't even really want Project Cars 2. Yeah, you create a driver, but there's no real sort of story mode to it. So if you want a career mode with a story, yeah, you want... GTR 2 might even be a little bit more like Project Cars, just with less levels of, class of car. But yeah, if you want something with a story, with like a developing driver, you want the Formula 1 series or like NASCAR Heat 4 or something along those lines. You don't want this. However, if you're not worried about creating a driver and having a story with it, if you want to create your own story up here, which happens a lot in sim racing, you might want to check out Championship mode in here. And that's what I'm starting today, Championship mode. I was waiting for the new DLC to come out, the Intercontinental GT Challenge DLC. The Bathurst 12 hour is this weekend. Today's Wednesday. I leave tomorrow to start my trip down there, flying to Adelaide and then driving with the lads from Adelaide to Bathurst. So that's why I want to get this done today. So at least there's a video up there before this DLC comes out. Maybe this could convince some people who are on the fence, who are thinking about getting it, whether or not they want to. So career mode, forget that shit. Championship mode, I think, is where it's at. I have been playing with some settings, that's why I've got to resume there, but we're going to go in here now. Yes, we're going to start this. You can choose 2018 series cars or the 2019 series cars. I'm rolling with the 2019 series ones. They're the newest. Season type, you can choose between sprint, endurance, or all. I'm not doing all, I'm not doing endurance, I'm doing the sprint. I've already driven 8 hours around Spa against AI in career mode. Fuck doing that for 24 hours, which is what this will be, if I choose the endurance season as well. I'm not doing an hour, hour and a half, saving it, coming back another day, doing another hour and a half, and then doing that for, 12 to 18 days. No, I'm not doing that. I'm sticking with the sprint mode, the sprint season. They're 1 hour races. I don't do a lot of practice or setup changes to the car. I'll do a little bit of practice just to make sure I'm feeling good with the current track. Might make some minor setup changes, but I'm not going to spend hours on it. So just doing the sprint thing. I don't know whether real custom weather, I don't know if it's real weather as the race was on that day the last year during the actual season. So, you know, if Hungaroring was a wet race, I don't know if that means it'll be a wet race in here. I assume custom means you can choose your weather. I don't like doing that. I really wish there was a you know, like dynamic sort of thing that it just randomly chose it. That might be what custom is. Let's leave it custom. We'll see what it says. Opponent count. I don't know how many cars are in the sprint series, so I'm just going to say 29 so that there's 30 of us. Opponent skill. I've been doing some single race, so it will have been. I was doing some just single races to figure out the best opponent skill for me. I think it was about 95. I don't want to start at the back of the grid and finish in first. That's insane. I want the cars around me to be of a similar pace, so I've generally got somebody to battle for the entirety of the race. Like I said, I don't do a lot of practice and setup changes. If I did, yeah, maybe I'd be up around the 100, but I'm more interested in the racing, so I'm going to have it at about 95. Aggression, I think I had it at about 90. It was low 90s, like 92, 93. Let's go 92. Damage rate, we're going to up that to 75. Look, none of this. Oh well, opponent count. I think you might have had opponent count in career mode, but as far as skill, aggressiveness, damage rate, this wasn't in career mode. You did the preseason test, and the game recommended, hey, we think you should race on. For me, we should race on hard difficulty. So, but that was it. It didn't say, oh, hard difficulty is this opponent skill or aggressiveness. Hard difficulty doesn't have this much damage. I think it was just down to this is what your opponents are. There was no damage in career mode. You could plow into a car and there's no damage. There was no tire and fuel consumption. I did 8 hours around Bathurst. I did 8 hours around Spa on 10 litres of fuel. So I had a nice light car. I don't know what the AI were running, but I did it on 10 litres of fuel or 9 litres of fuel or something, which is annoying because I had the fuel light on for like 8 hours. Limited or unlimited tyre sets. I'm just going to go unlimited rather, sorry. Can't be bothered messing around with that. I'm not taking it that seriously. Brake temperature on, of course. Formation lap, we're going to start from the last corner. Penalties enabled. I don't think there are any penalties in career mode. There might have been some like extreme track cutting penalties from what maybe I remember that. But you didn't have this customization in career mode. You also couldn't, a similarity between this and career mode, you can't change the race length. We're doing the sprint season. Well, I'm doing the sprint season. They're going to be 1 hour races. There might even, is there two? Or is there just one? I didn't follow Blancpain too closely. But you couldn't change, or you could change the length in career mode. I'm sorry, I'll tell a lie. You could change the length. There was short, medium, or long. I chose long. The sprint races, I think, were 40 minutes. I did I think it was 4 hours of Paul Ricard, and obviously 8 hours, like I mentioned, of Spa. But yeah, it wasn't like long, wasn't even all that long. Here you can't change the length. It is just you're doing sprint races. Your races are an hour, or you watch. It's going to prove a liar of me. The races will be different to what they actually are, or to what I think they are. But we're going to start the championship. Here we are at car select. You could select your car in career mode, but that was the cars available to you were based on how well you performed in that preseason test. So you've got the Lambo, the Lexus, the Merc, new Porsche, AMR, which I thought was Aston Martin Racing, but this is R Motorsport. The Audi, the Ferrari, back to the Lambo. I drove the Porsche in career mode. I want to drive something a little bit different. I'm going to drive the AMR. AMR's not in a lot of sims. They've got one in R Factor 2. But I like this AMR. I'm going to drive this one. You can only drive for R Motorsport. You use between the 62 and the 76. I'm going to drive the one with the yellow thingamajigs. I'm going to confirm. I'm going to have to change my shirt. Okay. Okay, so Brandt Hatch, Misano, Zandvoort, Nürburgring, Hungaroring. Just the 5 rounds, which is fine. That's 5 hours of racing. A lot more once I do a few practice laps and stuff. But look, you got leaderboards. You can, well, we're only doing the sprint, so you can't change that. Yeah, you can sort it by overall, silver, AM, pro-am, overall, and you also sort by car or team. Didn't have that in career mode. There were no points in career mode. There were no championship points. You were racing just because you like racing. Yeah, there was a podium if you come in the top 3, but there was none of that. Drive assists, gearbox, yeah, manual clutch. That I like having that there. I'm going to have to set an engine start button, but that's all good. Alright, that's everything. It doesn't let me choose weather, so I do know that when I was playing with the settings earlier and I left the weather on real, this was cloud, like overcast. So custom might actually mean randomized. I can't click on the other one, so obviously we can't see what the weather's going to be however many weeks in advance that race is. But this is different to the real weather setting. So I'm going to change my shirt. I'm going to do some practice. I'm not going to record the practice sessions. I'm just going to record the race and put that up so we can see what happens after the race. I don't know if I'll get to the end of the season before the new DLC comes out. I don't know when the new DLC comes out, but that has Bathurst in it, so I'm going to be all over that. Okay, guys, just after I hit stop record, I hit start weekend to do some practice, and it takes us to this. So you can actually choose. Oh. Okay, so we can go dynamic weather enabled. Variability. I don't know whether that's 50% chance. Oh, hang on, does it? No. I don't know if it's 50% chance of the weather changing or whether the weather will change 50% from clear. Cloud cover 25, precipitation 0%, average ambient temperature. Grip level green, fast optimum green. Oh, so you can set that. Oh, hang on, let's randomize. No, it doesn't. I don't understand. What if we go medium rain? Randomize. Okay. Alright, well, I'm going to leave dynamic weather enabled. Because I don't do a lot of practice, I'm going to have grip level on fast. So I'm going to keep all rounds enabled, variability 50%, because I don't know what that means, and grip level fast. If I hit randomize, nothing happens. Alright, so I'm just going to hit continue. Oh, alright. So we've got practice length, 2 10 minutes, 2:15, 2:30. So you've got to have either no practices or 2. I'll do 2 lots of 30, just so I've got an hour there to practice if I want. Qualifying, 2x5, 2x10. Bloody hell. I'll do 2 10-minute qualifyings. Oh, you can change the race length. Alright. Interesting. So we got 2 10 minutes, 2:15, 2:30, 2:45, 2:60. Alright. Well, I'm doing full length, so 2 60-minute races. So what I'll do, I'll do the first race, and then after the second race, I'll record the second race, and yeah, I'll record the second race, so then we can see what happens after a race weekend is complete. Starting position. Oh my god. Okay, this is kind of cool. I mean, interesting that they didn't have this to begin with, like earlier on in the thing. So is it going to make me do this every time I go into a new race weekend? What was I doing? I was doing 10-minute qualies. Race length 260, starting position qualify. Okay. Alright, now we're going into the race. So I'm going to do some practice. I'm going to record that second race, and yeah, I'll see you at the start of the second race. Bye.